Superhuman. This is our 21st Century Superhuman show. And today I have with me Don and John. Didn't even think about it rhyming, you guys, but from Saskatchewan, Canada. How's it going today?
Good. It's going great. How's everything in Florida?
It is warm. It's great to have you guys here. And I'm so excited. What's so amazing about the Keshe material and building these Magrav units and car units and all the little details, the GANS production and the nano-coating that it takes to get there is kind of a little bit technical. And Don, the few times I visited with you, and it sounds like you're very similar, John, you guys have such a know-how of all these little tech details. And so today we're going to look at some slides of some projects that you've been working on. And for those who are building things at home, it'll give them a little guide to go by and maybe encourage them and inspire them to see what you guys have been doing. So you guys should maybe tell us a little bit, how long have you been involved in the Keshe teachings and what got you involved and what do you think about it? And how cool is it that you're neighbors and you can work on this stuff together, right?
Oh, well, it is nice to have being able to have someone else that you can bounce ideas off of and try new experiments. I don't know how long Dawn has been involved, but I've been involved pretty from the October 16th release.
Right.
Yeah, I came across a video on YouTube that said free energy for world peace, and I was like, oh, I like world peace, and so I started watching, and I was fascinated with what Keshe had come up with, because it's like he dived into the magical realm and brought back this information. And from my point of view, or opinion, I guess, I've always felt that like our freedom was going to come from by tapping into the etherical realm. That's like after watching and reading Nissim Hiram's work, that when he talked about how much energy is in a cubic centimeter of just, I guess we call space. He likes to call it dark matter. Keshe calls it the plasma energy. Buddy from years ago, Young, he described it as the ether. So this stuff has been talked about for centuries, literally, and without any idea of what we are talking about, which really isn't much different than when Plato talked about atoms, when he talked about breaking things down into a single form, and what he was describing at the time was an atom. But we didn't have two clues what an atom was, and we didn't know what an atom was or even have an inkling of it until the 20th century. And now it's something that we talk about. It's in our science. It's every day. Well, that's where we're at with the plasma technology. I look at this stuff as kind of when electricity was first discovered. When electricity was first discovered, nobody knew what it was. Books like Frankenstein were written about it. It was the devil's magic. Stay away from it. And it wasn't until a man like Tesla came along and showed us that you could actually have this stuff do work for us in the form of electric motors. And once that was done, electricity became every day in our lives because we were able to utilize it every day, first in elevators, then in air conditioning to move air around, and anything that you can think of that needed angular momentum, we began using electric motors to do that. And it has changed everything for us in the 20th century and coming right into the 21st century.
So John, listen to you. That is awesome. I always say there's 7 billion brilliant people on the planet, you know, and it's great to hear this brilliance coming out of your mouth. Thank you so much for that, you know, depth of vision into what you're doing and why, and the fact that you just stumbled into, you know, free energy for peace, you know, on YouTube. I mean, wow, it's so cool. And you guys are neighbors, right?
Yeah, I live about 2.5 kilometers away, but we live right here in Regina. It's a big city. It's the
Nice.
capital of Saskatchewan,
And
so we're
and
not that far away from each other.
right, and tell us, John, while you're on here, what it is that you were telling me you've had a few incarnations as far as what you've been doing for a living, but tell us a little bit about your skill base so people know where you're coming from.
I'm one of those people that can literally do anything. I mean, I've had people ask me before. It's like, what can you do? And I was like, it's easier for me to say what I can't do. Right now, I can't fly an airplane, but I but I can pretty much anything that I put my mind to want to do. I'll figure it out. Like right now, I'm working on a system to help our GANS production. Using a transformer out of a PC computer, and just taking and tapping off 3.5 volts, dropping that 3.5 volts down to 1.5 volts, and setting up a circuit so that it will help us step up our GANS production. Because right now, Don, he makes his GANS basically in the sun, which is really neat, and that is something that we had talked about early on about doing. And one of the reasons why we talked about making GANs in a natural way was so that we can show people who do not have resources available to them how they can make GANs super simple. All they need is a glass cylinder. Right now, Don uses a glass container. It's about maybe 4 inches across and about maybe 10 inches high. And we found that that worked great because our goal was to keep the plates about 3 centimeters apart. We try to keep everything in a trinity.
Let's jump into that in a minute as we look at the pictures, but do you want to just tell us really quickly what GANS is? If there's anybody listening who doesn't know, just give us your short definition besides gas in its nano state.
Well, personally, I really don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've struggled with this myself, but I'll tell you what I have observed and some of the conclusions that I have come to. Now, this is no scientific proof in it whatsoever. It's just my observations and what I think I know, which may not be anything at all. One of the big things that I have observed is that is the GANS. GANS has mass, and that mass seems to come from absolutely nowhere. And what turned me on to this is that when you take, and I would challenge people this, put your container that you're making GANs in and set up your plates and everything, and then put all of this on a scale. Mark the weight, and then at the end of your GANS production, see how many grams your container gained while it was producing.
Wow, what a great idea. Listen to you. Cool.
Mass increases. To tell you that right now, the mass does increase, but my plates are still intact. And so where does that extra mass comes from?
Right. So we're talking about gas in its nano state that is potentially pulling plasma from the atmosphere, from space, from the energy field surrounding us, and sort of, as John says, turning that plasma material, turning that matter into like popcorn atoms, so expanding them. And
yeah, that would probably be the.
Oh, we got you freezing up a little bit. You guys here? Hello, hello. Don, are you there? Turn my video off for a second here, quick. Hello, guys. Great stuff. So, John, thank you for verbalizing all this so well. Really nice. And I think it helps all of us to talk about these things and get a greater understanding of what we're dealing with here. I know that you have kind of a lot of experience as a pipe fitter, maybe software development. So you've got that sort of ability to, I call it a spatial thinker, good at putting things together and making them work and understanding how they work, you think?
Yeah, very good at that.
Plus you said you're really connected with your intuition, which is awesome for these days and times.
Well, yes, it is I know you want to get to Dawn, but I just wanted to relay this. There was I found a couple of clairvoyant women here in Regina. They see energy fields, and I already realized early on that there was no way to measure these plasma energy fields. So I ended up taking some of our plasma devices to these clairvoyant women. And here's the best thing is that a little while ago, we stumbled across a page where this guy had some clairvoyants draw out the energy that was coming from the pain pens. And when I took my cup to go see the clairvoyant women that I know, they described the energy fields that were coming from the health cup that I had built.
Wow.
And I found it all really interesting, and what they were able to describe to me really helped a lot in some of the directions that we began to take in just doing our own experiments and developing more of the Keshe technology.
Nice. So we're really kind of going beyond, we're going beyond where we've been in how we're looking. That's what I say about Keshe technology a lot, is this is sort of taking us beyond Newtonian physics. We're beginning to look at energy and matter in new ways other than how we've looked at it for so long. And we're in these early stages of learning how to understand that. So yay for you guys in, getting this kind of input and being able to understand it in this way. It's very cool.
Well, like I said, our goal is to try to simplify this as much as possible for people who may not have the aptitude for it. And I would like to see, more people get involved and build their own things, because yes. I think just people building their own thing and having success is a huge boost in confidence for people, for them to go out and do more.
Yes. And you know what we're going to see in the slides here is how simple you guys make it. And I'm so grateful. We're kind of like monkey see, monkey do people. If we get to see somebody do it, it gets to be a lot easier for us to do something new. So I think there's that barrier people have to break through of, it's so, how do I do this? But getting to see it, this is exciting. So Don, tell us a little bit about your adventure, how you've gotten involved, and you've been really active in some of the Skype rooms, and go ahead.
I stumbled onto a blog site I go to every day, and then they had a link about Keshe new thing back last fall. I think it was in August, September, and I clicked on it and went on it. And I've known about Keshe for 5 years prior. I've been watching some of these videos, but I really didn't have the time for it. I wasn't in my work mode to study at that time, and but I was quite interested. And then that promotion last fall that they were putting out, the world piece, and that's when I really sat down and started listening. And
really at that time last fall that I think both of you started, but it's amazing you knew about it 5 years ago. But the thing that happened last fall was they were putting out about world peace, and also decided to release the blueprints, right? And then they gave an intensive series of workshops right after that. I know that was when I started as well, and watched as many of those as I could. So
that's right. Yeah. And then I looked through the website of Keshe's website, and I decided to put a message out there. I didn't want to do this by myself. So I put it out there, and here's what I found. This guy right here.
Wow. Amazing. Like right up the street. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So we spent the day driving around looking, to see what we could come up with. We had common ground. So we put together some plans and what we were going to do and continue studying it. It was early last fall, we were just still in the early stages of understanding this. So that's where we're at now. We're working in my backyard, and advantage for me because I've got the big backyard, the shop I built, and John lived in an apartment. He doesn't have much space, but he can still do his GANS research. We can do things apart, and we do things together. And that's where we're at. So
nice. What I like, you guys are doing what Whitney has talked about, who I've done the Goddesses of GANS shows with her and Heather, and she came up with this idea of workshops, many hands for peace. And it's not really like going to a workshop, but if somebody has a space, you all come to that shop or that space to work on your things. And maybe somebody brings a tool and somebody brings copper wire, and by coming together. And so you guys have your own little gathering, and it's so neat. I'm actually working on doing a little of that here as well.
Yeah, well, we're right now, I don't think, Don comes along because he finds some of what the ideas that I come up with interesting. So I think he comes along mainly out of entertainment. But my goal right now is I'm trying to introduce this technology to the First Nations people here in Canada.
Great.
And, from talking with a few of them, they've gotten pretty excited about the technology. I've given two reactors to do two different reservations. One that's about a half hour, 40 minutes outside of Regina here, which is the Pie Pot reservation. And then I sent another one up north to a gentleman that I met when I was doing when I was working up at the uranium mine. And he lives at Little Long Lake Indian Reservation, and so they've been. This was about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago that I was.
A week ago,
a week ago at least. So they've been looking at it. So I gave them a reactor and I gave them a health cup. And
nice.
to try both. I printed off instructions for both things and also on how it's built, and so that I'm hoping that they'll be getting a hold of us soon because they would like to talk about us doing a demonstration in front of their elder council.
Very cool. That's awesome. There's nothing can beat enthusiasm. And it seems like I talk to all different kinds of people in our culture, and, some are discouraged and some are overloaded. But to get to that place where we have enthusiasm, we're excited, and we're trying new things. I mean, it's just wonderful to hear you guys, sharing at that level. And so I'm very grateful for that. Thriving, living participation, that is what's going to carry humanity into a new way of being here.
Yeah, I think that's where we want to head, is share as much as possible, and at the same time simplify all of this as much as we can. Just by doing our own experiments. We just come up with wild ideas, and we do it. Well, yesterday, this is a good one. I kind of laugh at it, but I just it suddenly occurred to me that sometimes you can, like, people who make like batteries from like a potato, that school science project that I think we've all done at one time. I looked at Dawn, and we were having trouble making, what was it, CuO2?
Yeah. No, that's copper oxide.
Copper oxide. And it was just going so slow. And I looked at Dawn, and I was like, hey, I wonder what would happen if we drove two galvanized nails into a tree and hooked a couple of nano-coated wires to these nails.
Wow, what a great idea.
and then run the wire to the container that's making our copper oxide cans. So we woke up this morning. He said when the sun went down, he checked the potential in the container, and it was high. But then when the sun came up, it went back down. So we're just going to let that sit and do its thing and see what happens.
Nice.
It might be success, it might not. But right now, there's 2 nails in a spruce tree, and we're going to see if we can make copper oxide.
Very cool. It's kind of just taking from Mother Nature, kind of harnessing that.
Yeah, that's a lot of what we've been doing here at Don's shop. Is we've been experimenting with ways to make GANs naturally. And we've also been experimenting with ways to nano-coat the copper naturally, using mainly sunlight. And because, like I said, we're looking at trying to get people to do this without, Don and I, we bought all kinds of stuff to do stuff. I've bought different devices for making GANs, different things. But I mean, this is our investment. Our goal is to make sure that anybody that comes after us, they don't have to do the investment that we did.
Right.
They can just go get the containers that they need at the dollar store or wherever they can get them, and cheap, and then just start making GANs.
Right.
And once they can start making GANs and nano-coating copper wires, then you're well on your way.
Right. Well, let's jump in and look at some of your pictures. You guys ready to do that?
Yes, sure.
We can you can explain some of this stuff as we go. Let me go into screen sharing here. And
center the pictures.
I've been doing them all week.
Okay.
Got them.
So we've got full screen here. And so what you guys can go ahead and just tell us what is going on.
Don's project. You go ahead and explain this.
Well, John and I went to the hardware store. We just bought a usual, what is that?
That was a 3/4 inch pipe.
Is that a 10-foot length copper pipe?
Yeah, 3/4 inch diameter, 10 feet long.
And so the reason we chose this, because this is household plumbing. Okay, you got the purest copper you can get of all the other pipes you get. And we made a mistake at first. Why? It got too much brass mixing with it, and you're not going to make GANs with it very easily.
So yeah, how would you know that which one is the more pure copper, you guys?
Well, copper pipe in Canada falls under CSA regulation, and so it has to be 99.9% pure copper in order to pass Canadian standards. So we know that when we go in and buy potable copper pipe, that it's going to be 99% copper.
So is that pipe that would be used for water? Is that right? Water?
Yes, but you got to be careful because it has to be for potable water.
Okay, and I wonder how that would be in other countries. You think that might be consistent across the board?
Well, you'd have to check your government's national standards.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm a pipe fitter, plumber, whatever.
Right.
So I already had this information that I already knew that copper was 99. Copper pipes were 99% pure copper.
Right. So, how did you make that first cut in there, Don?
I've got an angle grinder. Called a zip cut blade, and I just cut it lengthways. I secure the pipe right into the workhorse, and I cut it lengthways all the way along. And then I use pliers and vice grip to pry it apart a little bit. And then I tap it out with a hammer and bend it straight with a hammer. And notice the little hammer and the big hammer. And that's what I tap it on, the big hammer, to flatten it out.
Nice. And then how do you cut it in the smaller pieces?
I do the normal tin snips.
Okay.
And I just measured it roughly, it's 6 inches long, just cut it the length and made them all up. And then that was done there.
Yeah, and that's perfect for the way that we make the GANs. in, like I said, in the 4-inch container. It's got a 4-inch diameter top, and they're about maybe 10 inches high. And those sheets are perfect for the containers that we use. And we found that when you're not using electricity, you want to use the sun to make GANs. We found that 3 centimeters is the distance that you should have the plates apart.
Interesting.
And, yeah, so what we had to turn around and did is we ended up cutting little blocks of wood at 3 centimeter cube, and we just basically put that little block between the nano-coated copper plate and the bare copper or the zinc plate, whichever GANs we're going to use. And we just use one of those big clamps you use in shops for holding things together. And we just clamp those two to the little block, and we just set it down inside the water. Oh, we put a little strip across the top so it all doesn't fall down inside the container.
Perfect. I think we'll see that in just a second. Let's look at a picture of it here. Anything else on this is a great idea on the getting pieces of copper, Don, because it seems like otherwise copper foil is one of the choices, but what a nice way to get nice pieces of copper.
Well, this is the thicker gauge. That's why I like it with this stuff. It lasts a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the galvanized cage we made up for going into the slow cooker for steam coating.
Right.
And what John did, he put it together in such a way I could pick the whole basket up, take it out of the slow cooker, all in one. I don't have to empty out plates and muss with it. It's real quick and easy. Then rinse out their slow cooker, put the fresh caustic in, get it ready, put the cage back in, and go again.
Yeah, he was annoying me with the setup that he had.
Right.
It was horrible.
So you have nice, neat little pieces of copper wire through there to keep everything standing up straight in that neat little basket, right?
I'm doing that way so it wouldn't fall over, and so it's working really good this way. Yeah.
Nice.
Work in progress.
Good ideas. Great ideas.
Yeah.
So just for people who haven't nano-coated, shall we explain a little bit of why we're nano-coating in order to open up the atomic structure so that the plates can help pull in the plasma energy? Is that how you guys would explain it?
Yeah, that would probably be about one of the best explanations. The nano-coating is basically makes a layer of superconductivity. So yeah, when you have a superconductor, it is going to pull energies from all around it, no matter what. So yeah, that's the nano-coating part. That's what fascinated me the most, is the fact that that you could make a superconductor from such simple household materials.
Right. Very good observation. And so for people who, obviously this video is going to be more for people who understand this process and are looking for details on how to do it. But basically there are videos out on how to do the nano coating, but you're basically putting caustic or lye. You have your own kind of Canadian caustic you're using in the bottom of the is it a slow cooker, crock pot or whatever?
Yeah, it's called heat caustic. If you look at the next picture, it's in there, and they'll see that. Oh, that's my GANS setup.
I think it must be up ahead a little bit.
Maybe, yeah.
So basically, you're either putting it out in the sun with caustic and a little water, or you're putting it in, and we'll see more pictures of this, or you're putting it in the slow cooker with caustic in a little water, right?
We actually use 2 different types of caustic, depending on what we're doing. When we're using the slow cooker, we're using a heat caustic. It has like some small aluminum particles in it. So that's what we use for the slow cooker.
Right, and a lot of us that are just using lye will actually throw a piece of aluminum foil in there with it, which seems to help the process.
Yeah, and then Don has this other caustic that we use. It's the white beads that you see most of the people use, and that has no aluminium particles in it. He uses that to make up a cold caustic spray, and he found that works good for that, because when he tried to use the heat type caustic to make the cold caustic spray, yeah, that failed on us completely. And so we found straight lye or straight up caustic was the best to make cold caustic with.
Great distinction, you guys. And I think, Don, didn't you share with me earlier that you're adding to the 100% lye, you're literally adding boiling water to it, and then you let that cool, and then you put that in a jar and you spray it on some of your coils, which we'll see in a little bit. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the cold caustic method, you call it.
That's right.
Yeah.
With the sun.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's your GANS, and I know now I don't see the pieces of. You don't have the pieces of wood in these, do you? That you were mentioning.
Yeah, this was something that we figured out over the weekend.
Okay.
We were out and we were observing, I guess, that probably most of this setup here. I think this was taken about a week or two ago. And so we were making observations about all of this setup. And that's the thing about making GANs. It takes weeks to actually make any kind of observation, because it takes so long for things to produce, for the GANs to produce, that I know that the experiments I'm doing at home, I usually got to wait, 12 hours before I get a result. And then once I get a result, then I have to make a decision on which direction we're going, which is kind of annoying when you're trying to build a circuit.
So I'm going to just point my arrow down here in the lower left. We have caustic being made. It looks like you used a couple of copper scrubbing pads, right? That you nano-coated?
Yeah.
And then your plain copper plate, and then you've got alligator clips, and you're running wires in between them, right? Is it one piece of wire run in between?
Just one piece of wire connecting it, and we wrap nano-coated wire right around the sponge. That's already, I use cold caustic on it, and I put it together and then run the alligator clip and clip them both to there to the plate.
And what kind of saltwater solution did you tell me you're using, Don?
Well, I've been using saltwater crystals. Saltwater, like you buy at the hardware store, the 50-pound bag of it at a time, you know.
And you know about your percentage of salt to water? Are you using distilled water or just tap water?
I just dump, there's enough on the bottom, and it saturate. I let the water saturate the salt until it doesn't dissolve anymore. That's what I just scoop out what I need, and I keep topping up with fresh water.
Interesting.
In a 5-gallon pail of water.
Okay, interesting. And then you can pour that into these containers, right?
That's right, yeah. Because I do a lot more volume of salt just to keep my costs down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to spend a lot of money on household salt. You really don't need to, because I found I'm getting just as good benefit.
Nice.
Yeah. You're getting really good results just using the soft water salt pellets.
For $6-7 a bag, you can't go wrong with that.
Okay.
You know.
And so these are all CO2 GANs here? Is there...
Up top there, those are fish bowls, yeah.
Right.
I've gotten a lot of CO2 GANs out of those two. That's set up. I was thinking I'd go bigger, go around that one on the top there, the big round, that holds 3 gallons of water.
Wow.
And I didn't think it was that much, but it is. And it turns out I make just as much GANs, if not more sometimes, with the cold glass cylinder of glass. The foot long, foot tall glass, 4 inches across. I make just as much. So that's a lot less water.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll look at that. We'll see that cylinder in just a minute, right? So this is CuO, is that right? Or
Which one?
Which one is this one here?
Oh, that's CH3.
CH3.
Next one to the brown container is CH3.
Okay. And that might be a little amino acid on the top of there, you think?
I think that's just some tree leaf floating in there.
Okay. And then these up here, the same thing. You've got some nice nails in there, we see.
Keep in mind, this is outside. It is wind blowing. This is stuff I had to encounter with. I don't put lids on it. It's hard to do with wires sticking up in the air. It really doesn't bother me that much to wash out the GANS. Everything gets washed anyway.
Right. Okay. So once the GANS gets made, you're going to pour the salt water off and rinse it with clean water several times, right?
It's clean and it's just like brand new.
Yeah, and we run through a paint strainer as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can pick them up at the hardware store, and that gets rid of any matter that we don't want in our GANS.
Right, but you're letting nature kind of participate this way energetically.
Yeah, and plus it's Saskatchewan. It's rare that the wind stops. Yeah, there's the containers that we are using now. And we've had great success using these tall, narrow containers.
And you've got a zinc plate and a nano-coated copper plate in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd watched a video with you and JC, and he explained about the tall glass cylinders. That's why I went and bought those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that the idea came from watching you two talk about it. And so I thought it's easier to use glass than plastic. I was getting tired of plastic containers.
Yeah, we just steal everybody else's good idea and make it better.
That's great. That's why we're all doing this together. Global learning process. So this one was where you dumped a couple of different GANSs in here, right, Don?
That's right. I drained off what was settled. I unhooked it a couple hours earlier to let it settle. Then I drained off as much as I could, and I poured it into each other. And then I'll wait and let that settle before I can add more fresh water, like drain it off and top it up with fresh water. But here they were developing. This is the first time it's ever happened to me, and it would draw the powder into the middle, the bottom, as well as the top. And it kept going back and forth. So I thought, well, this is just a coincidence. So I took a wire and I stirred it up, and it was all snowstorm, and wait 10 minutes. And then it did the same thing again. So I couldn't believe that. So JC texted me back later, and he said that you're running two different fields, look like. They're separating each other. Interesting.
So then you took the lid off and kind of let it settle overnight, and they sort of combined, right?
Yeah, maybe I was trapping the gas, and maybe that was the only thing I could think of, That was surprising.
Look at these beautiful coils.
Oh yeah, they're a lot of effort. Making coils can be time consuming, from just coiling to wiring. I think that was a day's
it looks
work.
like you've done a really beautiful job of wiring them together too.
Yeah, try to make everything as neat as we can. I like things to be neat and look nice.
Beautiful. And so, Don, you were explaining to me earlier, this is what you used. You just used cold caustic on this, right? That you had taken lye crystals, put them in a bottle with some boiling water, let it cool, and then you sprayed them on here for cold caustic, correct?
That's right. Yeah, this is the container I found in the shed, and I put the glass lid on it. I even used duct tape to make sure the lid was sealed. It needs to be sealed to keep the pressure built up so it can evaporate and hit to all the coils, and so the cold caustic can work in the sun.
Yeah, also mention that we also flame these coils first.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah, and I guess the reason why we do the cold caustic too is because we make mistakes when we're doing the flame coating, and some of it just ends up coming off on us.
Right.
So, we just decided early on that we flame them to soften the copper to make it easier to work with.
Ah.
And I think my intuition tells me that softening the copper also helps with the reactor to build up its field. And
interesting, nice. And so, are you doing that with a little torch, or how are you doing?
Yeah, a little propane torch.
Nice.
And afterwards, we just we turned around and we started doing the cold caustic with them, and it just adds to the layers of nano coating.
Cool. Very nice. Very, very nice. And you do this for how long? You've done the torch, and then you use the cold caustic, spray them with it, seal the lid, and you leave that 24 hours, or how long?
How long do you leave that, Don?
Well, the torch thing, it's exactly what Keshe does when they show their videos.
Right.
It takes us, what, 8-10 minutes for each one.
Right.
But how long do we let it sit in the sun for the cold?
About a week. About a week.
Okay.
Oh, a week once you've sprayed them with the lid taped on there.
It's black in 2 days, actually, but I want to make sure it's done inside. So
good for you. That is very nice.
And we've also done the steam caustic.
Right.
Nano coating. So we've done it with the slow cooker too.
So if it was winter and you couldn't put them in the sun, you'd probably do that, right?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of success you had outside in the wintertime with the nano coating.
Well, for the cold caustic,
yeah,
I would put them in at first with a baggie. I hung them up in the picture window, and the sun.
Oh no!
And it would work great. You know, JT mentioned that too. So I put clothespins on it to keep it up from the fluid. I kept it up to the top section, and it worked good. No, it did the job even in cold days.
Wow, very nice. So beautiful nano coating on these.
Yeah, we don't seem to have much trouble with the nano coating. The well, Don did at first. But he ended up having to move his slow cooker to a slightly different area because he was getting discoloration when he was doing his coils. So I wasn't getting it at my house, but he was getting it here at his house, and I just made an off the cuff comment that who knows, maybe you've got a strong gravitational field in your backyard. I said try moving it 2 feet to the left or the right, and so. And he ended up getting better nano coating.
Wow. Good to pay attention. And I find you've got to put it on kind of the lowest heat too. That's what I figured out.
Yeah, I figured that out too, is that just keep it warm, and it will just carry on. After 24 hours you get black coils like this.
Nice. And so the way that you put the end wires together, Don says you just follow exactly what's in the blueprint, or I think we have a page that JC sent that we'll try and add to this video description, and you just follow those directions, right?
Yeah, that's a real monkey see, monkey do part of this project. I mean, I don't know any other way that a person would want to wire it up. I know they got a different way of doing it for the medical coils. But,
right. It'd be fun to do a video on that sometime, just the monkey see, monkey do part.
Yeah, well, that's what we're working on doing is we're setting up a video. We've got some footage going on where we're trying to show people how to make the Magrav devices from start to finish in like the most simple way possible. And it is a monkey see, monkey do situation. And I know Keshe doesn't like that, but my attitude towards it is that people need a place to start.
Yeah, that's it. And then they can.
Yeah, and if they want to copy what we're doing, just verbatim, that to me is fine, because I'm hoping that after they do it a couple of times, they'll get excited about the technology once they begin to see it working for them in their lives. And once they do begin to see it working in their own lives, they're going to come up with their own ideas anyways.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean that's that seems to be the direction that this technology goes. I mean, once you've got the basics down, then you got a wide open universe to explore after that.
Right. And so, Don, this is the other caustic that you were saying you use, which is has the little bit of aluminum in it, right?
Yeah, this is two totally different caustics. This is used only for steam caustics, nothing else.
Only for steam caustic. Okay.
This is the coils hanging to dry. This is after we dip them in our GANS mixture.
Oh, so do you rinse them with water after you dip them in caustic and let them dry, or no? This is you've just dipped them in GANS.
No, you are right. We do wash them in water first.
Okay.
Clean water, uncontaminated water, and then we just hang them up to dry. Usually for 3 or 4 hours, depending on the kind of day or whether they're inside or outside. It just depends. And then we dip them and we hang them off of these glass panels just to let them drip dry.
Nice idea. So have you dipped them in GANS water or actual GANS, and which kind are you using?
Actual GANS. We've settled on a mixture of CH3 and copper oxide.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, is it more copper oxide than, copper oxide than CH3.
Nice. And then how long do you let those dry? Like overnight or something, or longer?
Yeah. Overnight, yeah.
Yeah, overnight for sure. And this is, we dip them like 3 times. This looks like it's probably its 3rd round.
Wow. Amazing. And you let them dry in between each, right?
Usually like when we're layering them like this, we usually don't have to let them dry for like a whole day.
Right.
Usually we're doing this while we're doing something else. So we usually try to get them dipped at least 3 times before the end of the day.
Nice.
And then let them dry out completely for 24 hours.
Cool.
Oh, this wire, this coil set is for the car Magrav. Again, we just stole somebody else's good idea about putting the coil directly on top of the battery post. And basically you see the long wire there. That looks like the magnetical wire. That'll go to the positive post on the battery. And then the gravitational coil, part of the coil, we just have that twisting going off into out into empty space.
Nice.
Because I remember reading something about Tesla having a little aerial on the back of his electric car that drew electricity in to run it.
Cool.
So,
nice. And then it'll be the opposite on the other battery pole, right?
you got it, exactly. We take and we leave the gravitational wire straight, and then I put a coil in the magnetical wire, and then the gravitational one gets hooked to the negative post of the battery.
Nice. And we did just do a show on that this week, tips on making the car unit this way.
Yeah, I know. I stole them off of your show. Sorry.
Yeah, good. No. That's why we do it. JC and Dave Stewart from Peru, so it was good.
Yeah, this buddy from Peru that I just gave me the idea. It was something that I was kind of playing with in my head, but I didn't know kind of which direction to take because my design was getting way too complicated, and I believe in keeping things simple. And then when was it Dave Stewart in Peru?
Right. Well, I think, yeah.
Yeah, he talked about what they were doing.
Right.
And I was like, I got right excited. I just jumped right up out of my chair, and I was like, beautiful.
Yeah, and I think it was JC actually kind of laid out what the latest tips are. And then he showed us the really small coil, which I want to try on mine.
Yeah.
With the smaller wire.
Kudos to those guys for good idea.
So then we're going into building the regular Magrav unit here, right? Or is this for either one?
This is kind of for either one. We made the car Magrav coils slightly smaller, and but we can still use the same discs that we use for the house Magrav, so we didn't have to change much from one to the other.
Nice. And Don, what did you say you're cutting up here?
These are the floor plats. These are the election signs that I got last fall, and there's a great big 8-foot sheet, and took advantage of that. So we drilled them all out. John cut them all up and used them as dividers.
I love it. Election signs. Good use for them.
Oh yeah, there we go. There's the our discs that we cut out. And these are the coils set up for the car Magrav. And this is just showing how we're going to put them together. You see the little GANS container. We found that just to be the best design all around. It's just so simple to put together. We use the corrugated plastic board. We can cut it whatever shape we want. It's stiff enough to do the job. Plus, it's insulating material between each. Well, I've been calling them discs or cookies. I've actually been calling them cookies lately. Because,
yeah. So let me go back one. So if you didn't have, how do you cut the bigger circle? Obviously those, if you didn't have those drill bits, I guess you could do it with a scissors or a knife or anything really, probably, don't you think?
You buy those bits, it's a 4-inch drill bit with a hole saw.
Okay, a hole saw. And you put it on a drill, is that what you do?
Yep, you run on a drill.
And is one of those big enough to cut that whole circle?
Yeah, we do have a 4-inch hole saw.
Nice.
But you did say, I was cutting them out with a pair of scissors for quite a while.
Cool.
And when we decided that we were going to make a dozen or so Magravs, then Don went out and bought the 4-inch hole saw so that we could just punch these out as fast as we could.
Nice.
My hand would have been really
sore hands, but good.
Yeah, six wafers per Magrav.
Nice.
Times that across 12. That was quite a few wafers to cut out.
Right. So is this the end of a pipe? Is that right?
This is a PVC cap pipe, 4-inch PVC pipe cap.
Right.
This is for our car, the car coils that we're going to set up on the battery.
Oh, nice. Nice little container.
Yeah, we found that the PVC cap, and then there's an orange, or we have a orange ABS pipe cap, and it turns out that these two pipes are just slightly, one slightly larger than the other, so that meant that the two caps fit together really nice and snug.
I didn't send you that picture. I'm sorry for that.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking it was in here, but maybe
yeah, well, it's similar to the blue one there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So these are for the car unit, is that right? Or the regular Magrav?
Regular Magrav. This is for the house. No.
Yeah, you did. House Magrav. Yeah, these look at it.
No. This might be my car Magrav. This is for my car Magrav that I was doing, my own personal little project.
Right.
And
so you guys decided to put one on the positive pole of the battery, one on the negative, and then one in the trunk as a ground. Was that right? Or
yeah, that's exactly how we were going to do it. But this particular one right here, this is going to be a stack like the house Magrav.
Okay, and you're going to use it in a car as a stack?
Yeah, so this is what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of experimenting with my son's car.
Uh-huh.
And so what we're going to do with that is we're going to put a stacker and plug the stacker into the cigarette lighter, and then we're going to put a coil on each of the battery posts, and then one in the back just mounted to the ground. And when we go to put them in the front of the car, we're putting one on each side just behind the headlight, just because I want to try to keep the field balanced within the car. So I didn't want to just put the coils to one side of the car, because I thought to myself that would keep the field to one side of the car. So I wanted to put one on passenger side, one on the driver's side, and then that would keep a balance. And then putting one in the back, I just thought to myself, well, you know, since it's super simple, then why don't we just do it? And then we kind of closed the field in a triangular shape.
Nice.
And it seems like the etherical energies love triangles. Nice.
Well, I can't wait to see how that goes. You'll have to report back to us.
Oh yeah, right now, and plus Dawn's looking for someone that drives their vehicle a lot, and we want to set one up in their vehicle, because the way, if they find someone that's putting a couple of 100 kilometers on their vehicle in a week, then that would give us
faster results.
Exactly, because
Nice.
I don't leave the city, so I'm lucky if I use a tank of fuel every 2 weeks.
Nice. Yeah. And so this is?
This is the start of the house Magrav. The pipe, that's a 3-inch PVC pipe, and basically what we're doing, we're using it to separate the coils so that they have their proper distance in between.
Nice. And that is, do you know offhand without, or?
34 millimeters, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, about 34 millimeters, I think it was. So that's the thickness of these, or the length of these pipes there is 34 millimeters. And you see we just put 2 in just to keep them, just to separate everything. And then I wire in the top.
Pretty handy dandy. Nice little wiring in the top.
So yeah, and then we wrap the wire around the our cord wire, and wrap it around the coil wire, and then we use hot glue to make sure that everything stays in place.
Nice. Are you guys going to use capacitors on this or no?
Okay, I ended up moving away from the capacitors. For one, I found that that it didn't change the function of the Magrav. And when I introduced my Magrav to one of my clairvoyant friends, she began to describe to me what the field looked like. And what we found out is that the capacitor actually interfered with the field expanding.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I personally, it's like I say this to Dawn all the time, I want that field to expand because I want the spooky stuff to start happening.
Yeah. What is this on top here?
Those are just box connectors.
Okay.
Hold the wires in place so that if you pull it, you don't end up yanking them off the Magrav.
Nice. And there we have it, plugged in.
Yeah,
above the breaker box, right?
Above the breaker box?
Well, above your system, like, you know, pre your system going through your house.
Oh, downstream.
Downstream, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's downstream. We put a load upstream on the same receptacle, and then we put a load off the Magrav downstream. And we find that we get a good field coming off of it right away. We use our little electrical wand that everybody is using, and we found right away we got like a 4.5, 5-inch field.
Nice.
And it's consistent all the way around. So you don't end up with a blank spot. Like I said, where we're getting that with the capacitors. Now we did come up with an idea for the capacitors, and I kind of chuckled because the guys in Peru came up with the same idea.
Oh, neat.
And that is build a separate platform or container for the capacitors, and then we could have the capacitors set away from the Magrav, so the capacitor fields are not interfering with the Magrav fields.
Nice. Cool.
So that's actually a design that we haven't, I haven't gotten around to building it yet, but that's going to set inside a small little plastic box container with receptacle plug-ins, and
The capacitors, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that you could just plug that straight in line with the Magrav without having to take anything apart.
Nice. And then Don, you had said this was when your wire was kind of nano-coating itself, right?
Yeah, this was my first Magrav we put together way back in February, and then since then, like a month ago, I took it apart and we used a new wire, a new plug-in, and this is what I decided to peel back the coating, and this is what showed up after 3 months.
Very cool. All right. Nice slides.
Oh yeah, just a little side note. We have observed that wires will not nano-coat if they're exposed to open air.
Interesting.
Yeah. They have to be encoded in. They have to be in their plastic coating, or you have to keep them from being exposed to the atmosphere, and they will begin to nano-coat. We observed this on my Magrav that I have at home, and on Don's Magrav when he peeled back the wire. Everything underneath the plastic was nano-coated, but everything that was outside the plastic was not nano-coated.
Well, when you think of going to do nano-coating, you usually cover it or seal it into something while it's nano-coating, right? So yeah, that would make sense. Cool.
Yeah. So here's the Magrav. I just want to show you. We've got one right in front of us. This is the one, the extra one I built.
I'll hold it.
Nice.
Now this is our voltage tester. And I'll turn this switch on. See, can you see?
Go out the side. Yeah, straight out the side.
So we got the fan plugged in on the other end of the cord and power going through it.
Nice.
And it grows out to 8 inches, 10 inches. And different days go down to 6 inches, 8 inches. This is my second unit here in the house.
Where would you get one of those tester things? What do you call it again?
It's voltage testers. You can buy it in any hardware store.
Okay.
Or they have them. They're about $5.
Yeah, that is an awesome tool to have for checking the Magrav fields.
Nice.
To see if you're getting a magnetical field coming off the Magrav.
Awesome, you guys. Wow. Thank you so much for taking the time to put this together to share.
And the last one, sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
The last one we probably should show is the Health Cup.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, right now, this Health Cup is about 4 months worth of effort of experimenting and trying to get it just right, because I'm one of those people that tries to look for a silver bullet to kind of take care of everything. And that is what this cup was, we worked towards for this cup. Now,
okay, now do you have actual GANS in there as opposed to just GANS water?
This is actual GANS.
That's a lot of GANS.
Yes, I found.
And it's a double walled cup, right? So the GANS is in between the double wall.
Yeah, I found that filling it as much as I can with the GANS seemed to be the best thing to do.
Nice, because I have one with just the GANS water, but I might try that.
This has been had a huge amount of success with this cup. This has already cured a gentleman of cancer.
Well, we're not going to say cured, but
yeah. Okay, well, he's not dealing with his cancer anymore.
Right. And so how did, so is there a lid on that? So what do you put the water right in there, or you set a cup inside of it?
No, this is, the water's already right in here. Just
drink it down.
Yeah, drink it down. This is all in between. Now, what I wanted to say about this is that what I found is that it's super, super duper important how these wires go. Okay, so obviously you're probably not going to see it, but obviously we put our loop on the end of the wire. Okay.
I didn't know there was wire in this. To explain what you're doing here.
This is a nano-coated 14 gauge copper wire.
Oh, you put that in there too.
Yeah, and it goes all the way around the cup. So it goes, so I loop the end and I glue it to the side of the cup with a little bit of hot glue. So I just scuff up the plastic to give it a surface to stick to.
Right.
The coil goes in this direction.
Oh, so you actually have a coil in there.
Yeah, so it's going around, keeps coming down, goes around, keeps coming down, and it just keeps spiraling all the way down to the bottom.
Oh.
So what I found out in my experiments, this is super important. The direction of the wire is super duper important, because when I had it the other way, I got 0 results. When I started putting them this way, we started getting good results.
So so it's an anti-clockwise spiral in the cup, and then I'm sure you have your wire made and your wire is actually made into a spiral as well.
Yeah. So what I did is I got basically I just took another cup and I put a screw in it so that I could just put my loop at the end of the wire, and then I could just wrap the wire around the cup like that.
Okay, but so the wire you have in there goes in a spiral around the cup, but is it also made into a coil, or no? It's just a straight.
No, it's just the wire just spirals around the cup.
Oh man, that's amazing! And so was the GANS made in the cup, or did you pre-make the GANS?
I pre-made the GANS. This GANS is a mix of CO2. Copper oxide, CH3, and a little bit of copper oxide.
And so just mostly CO2 and then smaller portions of the rest?
Yeah, very small portions, because I found that the copper oxide, is it?
Right.
No. Yeah, the copper oxide didn't do anything. No, what it was is that I made a different type of GANS just using a nano-coated copper plate and a bare copper plate. And what one does that make? That's the
copper oxide.
Yeah, the copper oxide. Okay. I found too much of that will give you a headache. So we had to cut way down on that. But I found that the CH3 was the best one to use. It seemed to have the most. I think what that does is that actually gives more energy to the CO2.
Okay, and that CH3 is the one made from the nails, right? Iron.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
and also,
go ahead.
We have another coil on the bottom.
Oh, nice.
And this was made from 18 gauge wire, nano-coated.
So you have a literal coil on the bottom.
Yeah. So, well, not like a coil like it is in the Magrav.
Okay.
It's a basically two-dimensional coil. It's got no hollow. It's just one wire that I spiraled.
Okay.
In a counter clockwise direction, and then where this one here. If I can get it just right. Okay, the end for this coil is about right here.
Mm-hmm.
End for the coil coming down the side of the cup is right here. So these two ends.
Can you hold it up just a little bit, John?
These two ends are right opposite, like right in line with each other, right here. So the bottom one is right there, and the one on the side of the cup is right there.
Wow, that is a powerful cup.
Yeah, I've had that's. It's funny you say that. When I took this to my clairvoyant friend, she told me that the energy is shooting straight up through the center of the cup, and then there's a field that comes that emanates out from the side of the cup.
Nice.
So she said there's a lightning bolt going straight up through the center, and then another field around the outside. And then she told me something else that I found interesting. She said this cup is alive. She says it's a life form, and she says she can feel it as a life form. And she said that on the southwestern side of the cup, there stands a little gnome.
Aw, sweet.
Yeah, and she gets mad when I shake the cup.
Aw,
I was in her house and I shake the cup, she would get mad. It's like, no. I was like, why? Why are you getting upset that I'm shaking this cup? And she said, because the little guy that stands at the southwest corner of the cup, she said, he does not like it.
So if you hold it up, is that white that we're seeing that is all GANS?
That's all GANS.
Oh, and then water above that, I would take it.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is that what I do when I go to put the GANS in this,
right?
Is I let the GANS settle down after I rinse it, of course. And then once it's all rinsed off, I will take it, I will siphon off as much of the water off the top of the GANS as I can, and usually end up using an eyedropper to do that with. And then once I've siphoned off as much as the water as I can, the GANS is still in a liquid state. Then I turn around and I just pour that in. And so essentially it's more GANS than water.
Right.
And,
how exciting. So the gentleman who got well from his cancer, was he just using the cup, putting water in it overnight and just drinking the water, or?
Not quite. Yeah, he was drinking the water from the cup, and he started using it just because he really had no choice. The hospital sent him home, told him, you're dead in 2-3 weeks anyways. Go die at home, basically is what they told him. And so when I heard about this guy, I got him a cup. But then at the same time, I don't know, I just thought to myself, well, you know what? I know Kish says don't eat the CO2, but this guy's already dead. So I gave him a container of CO2 powder that I had made, that I had infused with marijuana. And I gave that to him. And between the cup and the powdered GANS, he ate that just a little bit. I told him I'd just try a little bit. And he ate that. And in 3 weeks, he was out mowing his lawn. And it's now 3 months later. And he's actually just started to figure out what he's going to do with the new lease on life that he's got.
Wow, that is awesome.
Because before, he was before, like when he was dying of cancer, he was a drug dealer is what he was. Okay, so that was his life. And then when he got better, not really expecting to still be alive and realizing that he cannot go on with this lifestyle anymore, I found out a few days ago, he's enrolled in a college course, and he's decided that he's going to do something with himself.
That is a beautiful story. That's awesome. Awesome.
I think the cup actually balanced his energy to where he actually found the ambition to want to actually go do something with his life, as opposed of sitting around his house all day waiting for people to show up that he can sell drugs to.
Right. That's so cool. So, and he was drinking water out of the cup too as well, right?
Yeah, once he started feeling better, he was drinking water out of the cup. Like, this is his cup now. He actually came to me for a second one, because one of the biggest challenges that I was having with these cups was sealing the rim between the two cups, because I kept on leaking GANS. You'd see it seeping out and create little white spots. So that's what his cup did. So he brought it back to me, and I ended up giving him a better one, because I found better glues to seal it with. I'd say that was the biggest challenge once I figured out how the cup should be built, was getting it sealed properly. Through the experimental stage, all I used was a rubber band to seal it as a gasket, and that was fine, because I was opening and closing. Yeah, well, I was changing the GANS around. I was changing the way the coils go together. Like I said, 4 months worth of experimenting, and we found out things. We found out that copper oxide or copper GANS will give you headaches, by the way. And also we found out that too much CH3 will actually start to stiffen your joints. So it was a balancing point. Oh yeah, we also put crushed quartz crystal in here too.
Nice.
So that just
very cool.
So
Awesome,
I thought,
awesome.
yeah. So I
Thank
thought
you
that
for sharing that. Yeah. So let me ask you guys really quick. Don, we can't see you. Maybe stick your head over here where we can see you too. Do you guys feel like your lives have changed as a result of having all these plasma devices and GANs and everything around you all the time?
What do you think?
Well, I think I just feel better. I mean, I just feel like I can be more confident in knowing what I'm doing is for a good cause. You know I'm making things that are better. It helped my two little dogs, and the older one is very active. He's 19 years old, and he was always thinking about putting him down before the Keshe technology come along. He's more active. He's more like he feels like he's 10 years younger. You know.
Nice.
For example, I've been giving away some pain pads to friends, and they get some results. You know.
What do you guys think about? Or you think you're going to make any of the little ping pong balls with the GANS water in it, or GANS on the little fan thing?
That's another focus, another
whole nother thing, huh?
Understanding the time and effort.
Right. You're doing good with what you're doing. You're doing great.
Yeah, well, I was mainly concentrating on the medical side of it for a while. Just had people, especially in my home family, that have physical problems. And so that's, I wanted to do something to help them. I've already sent 8 cups back to New Brunswick to my family, and to be distributed amongst certain family members. They haven't got there yet, but I am excited to get results back from that. I know from my own experiences that my son, who's one of those like skateboarder kids, so he's already, like, you know, he's broke his collarbone twice. He's taken his shoulder out of joint, I don't know how many times, same shoulder, all on the left side. So that left shoulder area has taken a huge beating in his short little life. And there are times when he couldn't even move that arm at all because it would be so painful from breaking it so many times. And my son tells me that he does not have any problems with it, and he has not had problems with that shoulder for months now.
Awesome. That is great. Well,
and
cool.
Working that every day now.
That's awesome. Is he drinking out of the cup?
Constantly.
And you think it's just having the things in your field as well?
No, I don't think it's because of what we've had in the field, because the stuff has been in the house since probably full on, experiments going on since probably middle of December.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't notice any significant change until he started using the cup. He was kind of my guinea pig when we were designing this cup.
Nice.
That, how's your shoulder today, son? And stuff. And plus, I've got myotonia in my joints. So that was the other thing that I was paying attention to. If the myotonia didn't go away, then what I did pretty much went to the scrap pile, and we tried a different design. And
wow. So is that clearing up?
Oh, it's already cleared up.
Awesome.
It's gone.
Cool.
And plus, on top of that, strength.
Cool.
I found a huge increase in strength without muscle mass.
Nice.
And, I can pick my son up, who is 20 years old, weighs about 140 pounds, and I pick him up once in a while just to see how much strength I have gained from using the cup. And I've gained quite a bit of strength, because the last time I picked him up was last week, and he wasn't that heavy.
Nice. That's awesome. All right, you guys, I think we're going to have to like call this to a close. So much great information. Thank you so much. I will call it a day, and I'd love to do a video with you again anytime you guys accumulate some cool pictures and plans for what you're doing. But thank you, Dawn and John from Saskatchewan, Canada, for being here with us today. And say to our listening audience, go out and try it. You know, put the stuff together, and whatever moves your soul, you know, moves your interest, find a way, get together with some friends who have skills too, and play around with this stuff. It's where we're going in the future, carrying us into a world of peace, right?
Yeah, that's
Peace,
right.
health, and well-being for all.
Exactly. Okay, thank you very much, Cary, for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
You have yourself
Awesome.
a great day and an awesome evening.
Okay, many blessings all.